Imagine a helicopter so lightly armed and unassuming that it was never designed to carry a single missile, yet it became the most heavily weaponized scout helicopter in the U.S. Army's arsenal, firing Hellfire missiles with a kill rate that stunned even its designers. A machine that was repeatedly slated for retirement, only to be dragged back into combat because nothing else could match its uncanny ability to see the enemy first and survive to report back. How does a helicopter originally built for mere observation become the deadliest eye in the sky? And why, after decades of proving its worth, was it ultimately forced into retirement? If you want to uncover the full surprising story of the OH-58D Kiowa Warrior, from its unlikely origins to its dominance in the world's most brutal battlefields, then stick with me. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this helicopter was both a tactical marvel and a controversial workhorse, and whether its replacement can truly fill the void it left behind. If you're fascinated by the machines that define modern warfare, hit that subscribe button now, and let's dive into the story of the Kiowa Warrior. The tale of the OH-58D begins in the mid-1960s during the height of the Vietnam War. The U.S. Army faced a critical shortfall. It desperately needed a dedicated aerial scout helicopter to locate enemy positions ahead of attack formations. The original OH-58A Kiowa, produced by Bell Helicopter and selected in the Light Observation Helicopter competition, was meant to fill this role. But Vietnam's thick jungle canopy quickly exposed its fatal flaw. Its underpowered 317 shaft horsepower engine and lack of advanced sensors made it nearly blind in contested airspace. By the late 1970s, the Army issued a formal requirement for an upgraded scout helicopter under the Advanced Scout Helicopter Program. Several manufacturers submitted prototypes, but escalating cost and technical failures led to the program's cancellation in 1983. Rather than starting over, the Army made a bold and controversial decision. It would upgrade its existing fleet of OH-58As and Cs into a radically new variant, the OH-58D. This helicopter, dubbed the Kiowa Warrior, entered production in 1985 after extensive modifications. What made the Kiowa Warrior revolutionary was its transformation from a fragile observer into a heavily armed sensor platform. The most striking upgrade was the Mast-Mounted Sight, a 360-degree stabilized turret perched atop a 13-foot mast, packed with a second-generation thermal imager, a laser rangefinder/designator, and a daylight television camera. This allowed the Kiowa to peer over treetops and terrain obstacles while keeping its crew hidden below the horizon, a capability no other helicopter of its era could match. Powered by twin 650 shaft horsepower Rolls-Royce 250 C30R engines, the OH-58D also gained stub wings capable of carrying up to 16 AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, plus 2.75-inch rockets and a 7.62mm machine gun. The Kiowa Warrior's combat baptism came during Operation Just Cause in Panama in 1989, where it provided critical reconnaissance and close air support. but it was in the deserts of Iraq during Operation Desert Storm in 1991 that the Kiowa truly proved its mettle. Operating in pairs with AH-1 Cobra gunships, Kiowa crews used their mast sights to locate and designate Iraqi armor from standoff ranges, guiding Hellfire missiles to destroy over 500 tanks and armored vehicles. The Kiowa's ability to acquire targets at night and in poor visibility gave coalition forces an unprecedented battlefield advantage. This dominance continued through 2 decades of relentless combat. In Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom, Kiowa Warriors flew over 1 million combat hours, primarily as armed scouts paired with larger attack helicopters like the AH-64 Apache. They hunted high-value targets, escorted convoys through ambushes, and provided close combat attack support in urban environments. The Kiowa's small size, agility, and low-altitude performance made it uniquely suited for these missions, capabilities that larger, more powerful helicopters simply could not replicate. Yet the Kiowa Warrior was far from flawless. Its small airframe and twin engines, while providing redundancy, delivered only modest power, far less than contemporaries like the AH-64 Apache or the OH-58's eventual replacement, the AH-64E Guardian. The Kiowa's internal weapons bay limited its payload to 4 Hellfires, forcing reliance on external stub wings that increased its infrared signature and drag. Maintenance-intensive components like the Mast-Mounted Sight and vibration-sensitive avionics resulted in low availability rates, sometimes as low as 40% during peak deployments. Worse still, its lack of armor made it brutally vulnerable. Between 2003 and 2017, the Army lost 179 Kiowas, with 33 crew members killed in accidents and numerous others in combat losses, primarily from small arms fire and rocket-propelled grenades. Despite these weaknesses, the Kiowa's strengths were unmatched among light scout helicopters of its generation. Compared to the French Gazelle, which also served in the scout role, the Kiowa Warrior carried a far heavier and more precise weapons loadout while maintaining superior sensor capabilities. Even against the heavier OH-58D Viper, the Kiowa's Mast-Mounted Sight provided a decisive observational edge, allowing it to detect and engage targets from positions of relative safety. No other helicopter could match its combination of low-level maneuverability, long-range target acquisition, and armed overwatch. By the mid-2000s, however, the cumulative toll of accidents, maintenance challenges, and the need to consolidate the Army's attack helicopter fleet sealed the Kiowa's fate. In 2017, after 32 years of service, the final OH-58D was retired, with its missions absorbed by the AH-64E Apache Guardian. Equipped with advanced sensors mounted on extended masts, the Apache attempts to replicate the Kiowa's scout role, but many pilots and tacticians argue it cannot fully replace the Kiowa's small size, agility, and low observability profile. Today, the Kiowa Warrior persists in limited roles. Some airframes support testing and training, while a small number are preserved in museums or operated by private firms. Its legacy endures as a testament to the power of innovative sensors over brute force. The OH-58D proved that in reconnaissance and precision strike, seeing the enemy first is often more decisive than bringing the most firepower. The story of the Kiowa Warrior is one of improbable success, a helicopter designed for observation that became a relentless hunter, surviving decades of skepticism and combat losses through sheer battlefield effectiveness. If you found this deep dive into its triumphs, limitations, and enduring impact compelling, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss our next exploration of the helicopters that shaped modern warfare. What is the most surprising thing you learned about the Kiowa Warrior today? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.